Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make some noise. 5 contests of professional boxing. And Tricky Trevor.
I was born to kill it. I was meant to win.
It's a good job. Put the pressure on now. Still keep that head movement going. Oh, that was a nice body shot. Yeah, she's not missing about.
Sharon goes into history books tonight as the first female professional boxer. Give it up for Sharon Jesse! Pointing out at full in Yorkshire.
That was brilliant right up from Lambert there. Yeah. Playing some good shots here. Yeah, he's on low now.
Still undefeated, Mr. Harvey Lambert!
Welcome to FightZone. My name is Max Jenkins, your host this evening. I'm alongside promoter Dennis Hobson and former British flyweight Tommy Frank. Like to put that in. Tonight we have a 5-fight card, starting with Harry Edgecumbe tonight, kicking off this evening. Going further down the card, we've got James Precious. We have also Harvey Lambert on main event, and chief support Mikey Harrison. Before I start, we're back at Hull, Dennis. A big, staple. We want to keep it here, and last show was brilliant. How important is it to come back to this place, and how good is this place?
I think, first of all, I want to congratulate Harry Booth and Steve Ashton in putting together a very, very professional and well-run event. It takes such a lot of stress away from us, and they're a pleasure to work with. They're great partners for us at FightZone and at Fight Academy. Obviously yourself for putting all the graft in. We've got professionals, and you forgot to say British flyweight champion. So he's the ultimate professional. We've both left our poppies up in the room. He's the number one. That's why he's a champion, because he's a champion in his mindset. We've still got a bit to learn, even at your tender age. But this is a great venue. I love Hull. Tony Booth, Harry's dad, is a dear friend of mine, and obviously with his checkered record, he's still got the most wins of every British fighter, I do believe. Yep. So we're working with some great people here, and it's great to have obviously part of our team from past and present in you and Tommy. And I think we're going to get a resurgence. Boxing's a roller coaster. We've had downs and ups, and we've had some fantastic ups with this guy, and the journey with Tommy. And now he's on this side of the rope, and he's giving a bit back. So it's a pleasure to work with Tommy, and I've listened to him on the last commentary that you both did, and I enjoy both of you, because obviously I know you're as friends anyway, and I think you're doing a great job.
So we got, going down the card, we got Mikey Harrison. He's fighting tonight. He's on before main event, Tommy. You've seen him in the gym. You've seen doing bits with him yourself. How important is it him to get a good performance, to get a good journeyman Latvian who's come over, and he's a hard kid? Yeah. What's the importance of Mikey getting it right tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Mikey tonight, because I think it's just been kind of simmering for Mikey lately. He's one of them fighters where he's got all the tools, but he just needs to push that button, let his hands go, and let it all come together. So hopefully tonight is the night that he's going to do that. I'm really hoping he's going to put in a good. He's going to put in a good performance anyway with Mikey. But like Dennis agree with me. It's one of them fighters where he's got all the technical skills. He just needs to let that pop go, put his punches together. But that's all part of being a young professional and learning, and that's what these shows are for.
And second up tonight is a lad we're all familiar with, called Jacob Spauls from Leeds. Beat Dylan in the amateurs. He's looking to go 2-0. How important for him? He's coming back into the mix. How's important for him to get a good performance?
Yeah, again, like nights like tonight, like these shows, they're just perfect for, you know, fighters to put on a good performance as well as learning. Do you know what I mean? That early on in the professional career, I've been there, and you know, obviously, like Dennis used to say to me, these are your learning fights. So these are the fights where, you know, you can try little things you've been working on in the gym. But I love this venue. It's a fantastic venue, and it creates a brilliant atmosphere. So what a platform and what a little venue to lay all your skills on the line in front of your fans. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Going to main event, we've got Harvey Lambert against Kane Baker. Kane Baker came in last, replacement, last minute. It's a curveball for Harvey. It's not a given. He's a good operator at nearer English to British level, and is that gatekeeper. How important is it, Harvey, to make a statement tonight, do you think, Dennis?
I think he's. You just said it. Kane is a yardstick and see where we are with Harvey. But I've seen kids, and I'm not just saying this, and I said it to him and his dad earlier on tonight, and I said it to Tommy. I've took kids with less ability than he had, and he still has, and Harvey to world titles. But it's about the application, and Tommy was just a little bit short again, and it's right fights at the right time. For us, for me, this is the right fight at the right time. Kane is a name, he's been in with some very, very good operators, but Harvey's pedigree is there for everybody to see. So it's all about pedigree. You buy racehorses on pedigree. Well, we've got involved with Harvey because of his pedigree. I think he can be our flagship in Hull, and he can take Hull and put Hull on the map and let us push him. And this is another journey that we can go on with, such as Harvey, and you watch there'll be more and more come through on the conveyor belt. Yeah.
And this is like a stepping stone for Harvey, Tommy. And you're not unfamiliar for these sort of nights, Tommy. You know, preparing for British level. How important is it to get this right now?
Yeah, well, the thing is, and like I said, you know, Kane Baker's coming at last minute. We all know Kane Baker very well, and he's a game kid. He's been on some big shows against some good fighters. I'm very, very excited about Harvey Lambert, and I think tonight is perfect for him to make a bit of a statement, to get his name out there, and again, like I said earlier, learning all the while. But like Dennis said, he's got that pedigree, and I think he's going to be a flagship for Dennis, and I'm actually really excited about Harvey. I'm looking forward to watching him, as well as all the fights, especially Mikey as well. It's going to be a great night, but hopefully Harvey, a good performance tonight, and that'll rise his stock, you know. Yeah.
Cheers, gents, for this. Hopefully it's a successful night, which it will be, of course. Let's see what it brings. Cheers, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, God. You're full, eh? Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, our
welcome to
boxing
FightZone.
action.
We're just going to have a quick birthday announcement before I kick off live here.
A very happy birthday. So happy birthday, Tick. That's been organised by Dennis. Thank you. We will be live with the boxing in 2 minutes' time.
Yeah, welcome to FightZone. My name is Max James. I'm with Tommy Frank, former British flyweight champion. Did I do that right, Tommy, this time?
Yeah, well, you included the champion, Max, so thank you very much for that, mate.
Yeah, tonight we're going to kick off with Harry Edgecumbe against Mohammed Wako. How important is it coming back to a place like this, Tommy, and having home fighters like Harry coming up on the bill?
Yeah, brilliant. I think it were May just gone, weren't it, when we were here again. Fantastic venue. I love this venue. So it should be another great night. Like, you get all the fans packed in. It's a good atmosphere, and when you're in that ring, like, you can feel the atmosphere in the air. So I'm sure there'll be some good fights on tonight. And yeah, like we said, Harry Edgecumbe, he's up first, so he'll be wanting to go 3-0.
Yeah, this is just a stepping stone from fighters like Harry. How important is it to get these early fights going on your record and going, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I was saying to you earlier, Max, it's obviously about, you know, these are your learning fights, you know, so these are where, you know, you're playing your trade in the gym, you're trying different things, and then on nights like this in front of your fans, you want to put it all together and you want to make some improvements, and if you can make some improvements and try a few different things what you've been trying in the gym, as well as picking up a win, that's what it's all about as a young professional.
Yes, I mean, I echo that, Tommy. You know, this is great. But yes, we're going to look at our first bout, and we're going to hand over to Bobby Blundell for our first fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Doubletree Hilton here in Hull, exclusively on FightZone, Fight Academy, in association with Humber Boxing Network and Soft Mix, proudly sponsored by Callum Scott, presents an evening of professional boxing. Welcome to Ignition. We are now ready to welcome our first boxers to the ring. Please welcome first, and making their way to the blue corner, originally from Ethiopia, now boxing out of York, Mohammed Wako. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent, making his way to the red corner, from right here in Hull, Harvey Edgecumbe. Ladies and gentlemen, Fight Academy, in association with Humber Boxing Network and Soft Mix, proudly sponsored by Callum Scott, and our bout sponsor for this contest, Al Capone Takeaway in Preston, proudly presents 4 rounds of action in the Super Featherweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest is Stuart Lithgow. Our referee in the ring, Mark Downing, and scoring the action from ringside, star referee, John Latham. Hull, that is our officials. If you're ready to welcome our boxers, let's make some noise! Introducing first, and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing blue shorts trimmed with black and purple. On the scales, he weighed 9 stone, 3 pounds and 7 ounces. This evening taking part in his 10th contest as a professional, originally from Ethiopia, now boxing out of York, Mohammed Wako! And please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out of the red corner, wearing white shorts trimmed with blue. On the scales, he weighed in 9 stone, 2 pounds and 2 ounces. He comes to the ring with a perfect professional record. 2 wins from 2 contests from right here in Hull, Harvey Edgecumbe. to my instructions and make sure you protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves, back to your corners.
Welcome back to Fight Zone. I'm with Tommy Frank, and we're getting underway with Harry Edgecumbe v Mohammed Wako. Harry Edgecumbe 2-0. Here from Hull. And
Second round,
Wako
round
1-7-1. Lively start by these two.
You see, he's coming off of a draw, Mohammed Wako. You know, that was 19th of September this year, so he might be up for this one. I mean, he's letting his hands go straight away.
Well, I've noticed that. It's a little bit straight, the journeyman straight into Harry. Which is quite unusual, really, isn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, in a 4-rounder, obviously you haven't got too much time to get your work in, but it's professional boxing, so you've still got to go about your work nice and steady. You know, but you know, both lads centre at ring, letting shots go. You know, I'd like to see Harry Edgecumbe, you know, took up a little bit, you know, and just bide his time, pick his shots.
Just like a looping hook to Wako there.
You see, he's starting to pick them shots a little bit, you know, a little bit more nicely, you know, moving off the ropes, nice there as well. And behind that jab, I mean, and again, you know, you can't, I mean, they say, you know, the jab is just the best shot that you can throw in boxing, sets everything up.
It's underrated, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, massively. You know, I'd urge all fighters, no matter what, get behind that jab. He's jabbing to the body there as well, which is good to see from Edgecumbe.
It's, with journeymen, Tommy, don't you think sometimes, oh, good shot, clean.
Oh, that's a big right hand from Wako there. You don't want to be taking them shots, Harry Edgecumbe. You know, he needs to keep his wits about him.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
Keep sharp in this first round here.
I think as well, you've got to watch it with some journeymen. Sometimes it takes them to get on the wrong side of the bed, think I'm not going to be a punch bag. I'm going to come and
you know,
give it.
I mean, obviously you've got Josh Thornton's dad, Sean O'Hagan, in his corner. You know, he's coming off a draw in his last fight, so them two things tell me, you know, he's not your average journeyman. You know, he might fancy this tonight. You know, third fight for Harry Edgecumbe, so you know he needs to. You know, stay nice and sharp and get back behind his boxing, Max. I think get behind that jab.
Nice shot again. I just feel he's not busy enough, Harry Edgecumbe. Nice shot by Mohammed.
You know, last 30 seconds, you know, this first round, and you know, for me, Wako landing the more eye-catching shots of this round.
It's a good 1-2 by Wako there. That's the away corners round, I would say, with that, Tommy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't think there were too much in it. You know, from what I observed, then you know, Mohammed Wako just catching Harry Edgecumbe with the cleaner shots there. You know, but again, it's only a 4-round contest, so really, it can't really afford another round like that, Harry. You know, I'd like to see him come out, be a bit sharper, be a bit busier, put his shots together more, and you know, look a little bit more positive in his work.
Just seeing on the replay, you know, he just caught, when he just came off the pivot, he just got caught, Harry. Do you think as well, what judges look for, Tommy, is that who's forcing the fight as well? Because we've just seen Harry a few times being caught on the ropes, backed up against the ropes. Do you think they look at that as well, judges?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's one thing, you know, if you are on the back foot and you're making the guy miss, obviously, you know, that's good. The judges don't look at that. But if you're the fighter that's coming forward and you're landing shots like Wako did, the judges are going to favour that.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see how this second round unfolds here. It's a good jab to body. I'd like to see him, you know, throw more jabs, you know, show him downstairs.
Maybe take centre of the ring, maybe.
Yeah, you know, take centre of the ring. And, you know, not get caught with anything stupid, you know. Wako, he's got that, you know, aggressive, wild style, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does. He has his wild shots, doesn't he?
See, this is better from Edgecumbe here.
So he's just jab now. Just jab now.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's the thing. It's not enough.
It's just, he's occupying his man with that jab in it,
keep him busy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that jab doesn't have to land all the time, it doesn't have to be a scoring shot, but it looks busy in the judge's eye. It keeps Wako thinking.
So he just got backed up again with the right hand. So nip and tuck here.
It is nip and tuck. I think he is having a better round, Harry Edgecumbe here. He has come out sharp. He's feinting as well. He's feinting before he throws, so that's always good to see. Down to the body again. That's a good jab. And I just think he needs to put some solid combinations on the back of them jabs now, Edgecumbe.
Yeah, let's see him. I'd like to see him just take centre of the ring, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good left hook and a little pivot there as well. He's definitely having a better round here. I think the main thing is sometimes, when you've got a live journeyman, you need to put them in the place, Max. Do you know what I mean? If you put them in the place straight away, and you're just kind of saying, look, this is how tonight's going to go, and that's the little learning things that you've got to come through as a young pro.
Yeah. So I like that. When he was on the ropes then, he pivoted off, but then nothing came from Harry then. Just wanted a bit more of a backup.
Like I said, I think he's having a better round. Hopefully he's going to build on this Harry Edgecumbe, but he's got a nice little style. I do like his style.
Nice shot by Edgecumbe to the body there.
But I think again when you're in with these wild characters like Wako, it's a good learning curve as a young pro, because you're going to be careful of obviously cracking heads as well. Yes, when you've got someone like winding shots up and being a bit reckless like that, and he got caught slightly there as well, so he needs to get back to his boxing. Edgecumbe.
It's just making it really awkward, this Wako character. It really is. But when he hits that right hand, Wako, you could see it coming. It's like
yeah, he's telegraphing that, innit? He's winding it up.
A good boxer should know that. Should see it coming.
Yeah, I think that will be better round for Harry Edgecumbe. That'll be what his corner will have wanted, right from the start. So hopefully, he'll build on that now. He'll start putting some combinations together. He's just got to be very, very careful, because obviously Wako is wild, he's telegraphing his shots. He wants to make sure he's not getting caught with anything daft. And obviously, cracking heads on the inside, that's what he don't want. But I'm sure this will be, either way, this will be a very good learning fight for Harry Edgecumbe.
If you're if you're Sean Hogan, what would you be saying to Wako now?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, he obviously had a bit of a, he had a good start in that first round, slacked off a little bit in that second, but I mean, it depends how he wants to go about it. If he wants an hard night's work and he feels like going for it tonight, this might be the night. So I'd probably just tell him to, just kind of stick it straight on him, basically. Do you know what I mean? Just get across that ring, let your hands go. The wilder, the better, because that's a problem that Edgecumbe has got to solve.
Just needs to establish his authority. He hasn't quite got that for me, Edgecumbe. Not yet, anyway. We'll see if he can get it this round. He's just reckless as Wako, isn't he?
Yeah, he is reckless, but you see, Harry Edgecumbe, he is doing the right things, because he's staying pretty calm. He's flicking that jab out, he's bringing him in, and to be, he's spinning off, and he's landing his shot. So he's going about his work in the right way. Harry Edgecumbe is. I'd like to see a little bit more like conviction for him. A bit more, biting down on that gum shield.
Tidy it up a bit, his 1-2s a little bit.
Tidy it up a little bit, and when he does let them shots go, really let them go with some venom. That's what I'd like to see from Harry. You see, while he's got these little lapses and he's just occupying Wako, these are the times for Edgecumbe to really put his shots together, pick up some points and win the round, Max, yeah?
But I feel like Wako's just this last 20 seconds just works quite well then.
You know, I was just going to say it then. I'd love to see some more body shots from Harry Edgecumbe as well. Nothing slows down a fighter more than sinking in some nice body shots, especially when you've got quite a wild fighter who's been a bit reckless. Slow him down, land some to body. It really puts a stop to the work.
Nice 1-2 by Edgecumbe, but then he just got sunk by a reply by Wako there. I like this about Edgecumbe. He's backing his fighter up a little bit now.
He's backing him up, and he did it, but I'd love to see a bit more conviction in letting them shots go. Like really, let him go with a bit of aggression. He's doing all the right things now. He's feinting, he's changing the levels, he's jabbing to the body. He's doing all the right things.
Nice right hand by Wako there. Nice reply back by Edgecumbe. I like these by Edgecumbe. Pips at him.
Sometimes obviously we're just at end of third round here, but sometimes these are just the fights you need. As a young professional, this is his third pro fight for Harry Edgecumbe, and fights like this against someone who's not going to lay down, who's a bit reckless, a bit awkward, and you come through these fights and you really do learn and you do push on. So hopefully that's the case tonight with Harry Edgecumbe.
Who do you think had that third round there, Tommy? Honest opinion?
I'd give it Harry. Yeah, I think he's won last couple of rounds. I might have gave the first round to Wako, but I think Harry's settled down more. Got behind his box and put some nice combinations together. But like I said, I'd love him to show a little bit more aggression and like ferocity when he's letting his shots go. Really sink him in. But that's just something that he's going to learn and he's going to come.
I'm going to incline to disagree with that third round, Tommy, because I'm controversial.
That's not like you to disagree with me, Max, is it? That's not like you, is it?
No, it's not. But I think this is anyone's fight, this. Now, I really think this could go either way.
One thing I won't say is, if it were me in that corner, I know he's got Mike Gibbons, he's got a very good corner there, but if he were my man, I'd be telling him, look, you need to go out, you really need to cement this round, Harry, so
just make it that convincing.
I think so, yeah, because obviously with him giving up that first round in my eyes anyway, and you don't know how the referee, obviously the referee marked down in scoring this, you don't know how he's seeing it there, so
I just feel he gets caught, Harry, and I just feel that's what the judge would look at. He gets caught, and that's in on the way out. He sort of got caught there. It's just a little bit on the sloppy side.
See, that's a good left hook. He's thrown a few of them this fight, so I think that's obviously something what he's been practicing in the gym and again. So, and again, it's like he's showing all the right things. He's setting his shots up well. You can see him feinting, jabbing to the body. So he's doing all the right things. He's got a very good base to work on. So hopefully, he gets straight back in the gym and continues to work. And I'm sure that he'll learn a lot from tonight, Harry Edgecumbe.
He's waiting for Wako to launch one of these little attacks he does.
He's just got to keep his wits about him. Again, that were a good shot. I do think he has gone on to box well in this fight. I mean, he has got caught, with the odd shot. So, he's got to continue to work on that sharpness, being sharp, keep moving his head, not get caught with anything daft. Because if you're in there with a big puncher like you, Max, that's what you don't want, mate.
No, you don't. No, you need to. Yeah, in my category, we take centre of the ring and we don't do dancing around.
Not like me, Max.
No. But you've got a bit more, a bit more, let's say, elegance about you.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you.
Just approaching the last part of this fight. I generally think, Tommy, this could be anyone's. I just think if, like a hit like that, that's clean, that one.
Yeah, you know, he is getting caught with the odd wild shot from Wako here, Edgecumbe. You know, like I said, I'd have loved him to go out and really cement this round. You know, but he's left room for doubt, Harry Edgecumbe. You know, I do think he's going to get the nod here. I think
it's a one round, innit? I think.
Yeah, but you know, I think he probably left it a bit closer than what it needed to be. But again, a young professional in his hometown. You know, and I think he's going to learn a lot from this fight. Make some improvements in the gym and push on.
Well, we will get the official scoring off our MC, Robert Blundell.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers? After 4 rounds of action, we go to John Latham's scorecard, which reads 39 points to 37 in favour of your winner, still undefeated, Harvey Edgecumbe. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Mohammed Wako. Again, a big thank you to our Bout sponsor for that contest, Al Capone Takeaway in Preston.
Well done, Harry. That was a great performance. How do you feel in there?
I felt like it could have been a lot better, like faster paced, you know. But he came in, he was quite a scrappy fighter, so it was hard to get around him. He just kept coming in and bit with his edge. So I had a few head clashes, but yeah, I think I can perform better. Like I said before, and I can each fight I progress. You know what I mean? But I feel like I did enough to get the win. There's a lot of things come off that, you know. I can go back in the gym and focus on that, and yeah.
I mean, to be honest, some journeyman just come in, just turn up. He came in and giving you a go. He gave it his, like, you know, left it all in there against you. You know, he came in swinging, didn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He wanted to win at the end of the day, and he shown it in there like he wanted it. But it's a shame he didn't come out with it. I'm the winner at the end of the day, so 3-0. Yeah.
So what is next for Harry now?
Well, it's going to be a big year for me. We've only having 2 fights this year and only 1 last year. I need to be miles more active, get out there. Like you say, you can tell I haven't had that many fights in pros. But I just need to keep active. You know, that's the main one.
And ideally, let's bring in Liam here. Bring in Liam here. Ideally, when do you want Harry out next?
I think there's a bit to work on in the gym first. Going to give a couple of months. Before looking after Christmas, it's seeing whatever pops up locally. Not that many shows and all that pop up, so happy to jump on any show. You're a great ticket seller. Sold, God knows how many, didn't you? Absolutely tons of tickets. So, yeah, lot to work on in the gym. It's not the best of him, but He'll be back. He's a lot better than that. I saw it in his last fight. He was cracking. Absolutely brilliant. Everyone has their nights. Just bounce back and train harder. Gives you more motivation in the gym, I guess.
Well, good luck. Well done, you win, Harry, and well done.
Just want a big shout out to my sponsors, merchandise by Sean Bailey and Amy's Cafe. Big shout out to my friends and my family for coming as well. Appreciate it. Without you, I won't be here.
Well done, Harry. Good luck for the future.
What do I like to call them?
So that was Harry Edgecumbe with a win. What was it 39, 36, 39? I can't remember now. It won by at least 3 clear rounds. So we've got now Jacob Spauls leads his very own Jacob Spauls against Dale Arrowsmith. Interesting one. I know Jacob Spauls quite well, and I'm looking forward to this one. I did everything I can to get him on this show, so let's see how he does. I'll hand you over to Robert Blundell, our MC tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to get going with our next contest. Please welcome our first boxer, making their way to the blue corner, from Manchester, Dale, the Choir Boy, Arrowsmith.
Here we come in is Dale Arrowsmith, 6 and 141 and 5. That is a lot of fights, isn't it, Tommy?
Yeah, he's a well-known journeyman, Dale Arrowsmith. A good man. Again, like these men and women, these are the backbone of British boxing. All your prospects coming through. They've got to fight your journeymen. Get your rounds in, learn your trade, and Dale Arrowsmith, very good fighter.
Yeah, Jacob Spauls. I'm a lover of this lad, a personal lover of this lad, because he's he's basically picked him up, Billy Pickles' sparring partner. So this be interesting to see how he does. He's currently 1-0. He only fought, I think, last year, so he has been relatively inactive. But the key thing is getting him active now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and exclusive on FightZone from the Doubletree Hilton here in Hull. We're Fight Academy in association with Humber Boxing Network and Soft Mix, proudly sponsored by Callum Scott. And for this contest, Travis Perkins proudly presents 4 rounds of action in the Super Welterweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest, Stuart Lithgow, and our referee in charge scoring the contest, star referee John Latham. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our officials. It is now time to welcome our boxers. Introducing first and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black shorts. On the scales, he weighed in 11 stone, 1 pound and 7 ounces. This evening taking part in his 153rd professional contest. From Manchester, Dale, the Choir Boy, Arrowsmith. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out at the red corner, wearing the purple shorts trimmed with gold. On the scales, he weighed in 11 stone, 2 pounds and 5 ounces. He comes to the ring with a perfect professional record. 1 win from 1 contest. From Bridlington, Jacob Spauls.
So, I mean, RMC, I think, made a tiny bit of a mistake. He actually lives in Leeds, but he did reside from Bridlington originally. Jacob Spauls, known him from the amateurs. He beat Dylan Trevor in the amateurs, Tommy. How good could he be, this kid?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think this is the first time I've seen Jacob Spauls. I didn't actually know that he boxed Dylan as well. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on here. Fight number 2 for him, yeah?
Yes, fight number 2. I'm quite interested. I mean, he spars a lot with Billy Pickles. Regularly spars with Billy Pickles. Commonwealth silver, super light champ.
Yeah, just switching southpaw there as well. So a little bit of a switch hitter, Jacob Spauls.
Oh, see that right hand?
You know, and obviously he's in with, you know, a very, very experienced journeyman in Dale Arrowsmith here. So, you know, he's going to want to go about his work the correct way here tonight, Spauls, you know. And again, just get behind that jab, which he just did there. You know, setting everything up.
Nice body shot by Jacob Spauls there.
The switching southpaw again. So we'll see if he can get some work off that southpaw stance for Jacob Spauls. Yeah,
nice shots, nice combinations.
Yeah, you know, yeah, he's putting him together here, Jacob is, you know, and like I said, I think Dale, you know, he'll keep nice and tucked up here, you know, trying to take the brunt of him on his gloves.
Nice shots, nice combos. But it's obviously on the gloves, yeah, I'm saying, Tommy. So, you know, you can't say they particularly score, but he's trying to open him up.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what he's trying to do. You know, he's trying to open up Dale Arrowsmith here. He's only in first round, so obviously he's trying a few things, you know, seeing where them combinations are landed. And then as the fight goes on and he gets more settled in, I'm sure that he'll, you know, start sinking him in more, finding them gaps even more. Working that jab as well. And just catching Dale on the back foot then with his hands down a little bit. And that's nice. What I mean. See, he's putting some combinations together, and that's a knockdown. Dale's complaining that it went side of his head, which it might have been, but you know, referee's going to score that a knockdown.
That was a knockdown, I thought.
You know, let's see how Jacob Spauls can build on this now then.
He doesn't go down often, Dale Arrowsmith.
No, he doesn't at all.
I mean, just looking at this, he's putting some combinations together, Tommy, like I'm just seeing on the replay here.
Well, like you said earlier in that round, Max, just about Spauls, you know, trying to open up Arrowsmith, and then about 10 seconds before the knockdown, you saw that change in tempo change, you know, for Spauls, you know, really putting them together with some venom, and that's when the knockdown came. So I'm sure that Jacob's going to be wanting to build on this now, going into round 2. And again, he'll start off, you know, doing what was working at the start of the last round, getting in that rhythm, getting on that jab, and then obviously working off that, putting his shots together more.
It's good to watch. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. He doesn't. Dale Arrowsmith doesn't go down. He doesn't hardly. Never. I don't think all the time of being involved and seeing him fight, I've seen him go down.
Well, I mean, he's got a little bit of a smile on his face, Dale Arrowsmith, but he'll know that he's in for, you know, an hard night's work tonight. It's not going to be just straightforward. You know, he's going to have to be sharp himself, Dale. And obviously, he don't want to be going, you know, getting knocked down again, does he?
No, and I think switching southpaw to orthodox, it does mess with your head a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and again, you know, all this, he'll have been practicing all this in the gym, you know, in your sparring. That's where you try different things. That's why, you know, you might switch southpaw and try some shots off that stance. And, you know, it's good to see him trying that when he's actually in the ring on fight night as well. And, you know, against a journeyman like Dale Arrowsmith, it's the perfect fight to practice them things and obviously build on that. And so far, that's what Jacob Spauls is doing.
I think Dale Arrowsmith's been really cautious and tucking up. He's just been very cautious.
And you can't blame him. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, he's in with a sharp kid.
Quite unique. Jacob throws a jab from his waist.
Yeah, do you know, I would just observing that, Max. I mean, you know, we're just kind of trying to tee him up for kind of like a long looping right uppercut there. You know, bringing his left shoulder blade across, firing that jab there, and he'll be looking for that right uppercut as well.
It's just this is the problem with Dale. When someone's got their gloves up all the time, it's almost like playing poker, and he's just getting in amongst him now. It's like playing poker and keeping your hands in your pockets. See what I'm saying?
And you know, see what Jacob Spauls, what he doesn't want to happen here is for Dale to kind of old-man him. Do you know what I mean? So yes. Obviously that means, you know, using his experience, he knows he's in with a sharp kid. He's going to be wanting to tie him up and, you know, turn him and just buy a bit of time waste a little bit. And they're all the old tricks. But, you know, Jacob Spauls, he'll want to be keeping this fight exactly where he wants it, putting on a show in front of his fans here.
It's just, I like Jacob's footwork. Just that, as the punch just kind of, he pivots it off the other side.
Yeah, you know, nice footwork, you know, not moving too much at all, you know, just moving when he needs to. You know, little steps to the left, little steps to the right, changing them angles, and then punching off of it, which is the main thing, you know, confusing your opponent, changing the angles quickly, making him pay. And that's what Spauls is doing so far.
Yeah, just looking at the replay here, he's just getting into it, but it must be frustrating for Spauls a little bit, because he don't let, it's almost like he invites it and trying to get him to jab back. But you know, it's when someone tucked up like Dale, who's so safe, it's hard to do that. It's hard to open up someone like that.
It is very hard to do that, especially, you know, when you're in there with someone as experienced as Dale. You know, it's quite hard to, you know, pry him open and get him out at what he wants to do.
Seconds out, round 3.
So you're just almost touching him with that jab there. You know, just getting his distances, Spauls.
But that's what they're teaching the amateurs. Get that yardstick, get that distance. Find your range. Spauls, very good pedigree. Won Yorkshire final against Dylan Trevor, our own Dylan Trevor from Sheffield. It proves he has come from a good stock, Jacob has. Nice uppercut by Spauls. He's just trying to open it up, and Dale Arrowsmith knows what he's trying to do.
Again, it's hard, you know, it's hard to land clean shots, but, you know, Jacob Spauls in here needs to put that out of his mind, you know, build on what he's doing, put them combinations together, and then, you know, as the fight goes on, he might be able to sink some body shots in as well, which I think might be crucial for him, or, you know, a good thing to try in this fight.
It's just a game of chess, isn't it? Do you dare? Well, you sink a shot in there, trying to see if his hands lowers, but it doesn't. He keeps discipline, Arrowsmith.
You see, in a fight like this, you know, when you're in with a very experienced journeyman, I mean, you know, De Jong's not really going to take any chances in this fight for me. Do you know what I mean? He's just going to try and kind of fiddle his way through it, not take too many clean shots, and then it's a night's work in the bank for a minute. But you know, if you're fighting a guy who's trying to do that, it can be frustrating. But again, he's a young professional. He's only 23 years old. So these are the learning fights you've got to get through to progress during your career.
Thought Spauls was waiting for the referee to break then, but he didn't. Pushed him off. Nice body shot by Spauls again. And again, that's a nice one. He likes that body shot with that right.
See, I just think in a fight like this, it's basically up to you and kind of what your team want you to do. So you can either take this fight as, you know, a chance to, I think he's cut as well, De Jong, maybe, or I might have just seen that wrong.
Yeah, it's got like below his left eye, yes.
You know, you can either take this fight, you know, to try some things out, you know, get the rounds in, or you can really, you know, dig down, let them hands go and try and get a stoppage.
Yeah, definitely. Right, well, so we're just had round 3. I mean, obviously Arrowsmith wants to fiddle his way through this 4th round and just finish it off. But the difference is, if you're Spauls, do you go for it or do you play it safe? What would you do, Tommy?
Well, I weren't known as much of a banger where I joined my career. I weren't really known as being a puncher.
What would you say?
I'd have probably played it safe, wouldn't I?
If you're Bateson in the corner, if I was Jake, would you say, you know what, just go for it?
In all honesty, no. To be honest with you, I wouldn't. You know, not with someone like that. I'd use this last round to really, you know, try some things that we've been working on in the gym. You know, so put your hands together. You know, he seems to be switching southpaw a lot. So kind of experiment in this last round. Make it entertaining, make it flashy, but don't go maybe too mad trying to get the stoppage. Because someone like De Jong, you know, who's like, you know, an experienced fighter, he can tie you up, he can buy time, he can make you look bad.
I mean, this is a disciplined performance by Spauls. We can agree on that.
Yeah, very disciplined, yeah, and I think he's looked good. I think he's looked really good. And again, you know, only a young fighter, you know, 23 years old, it's your 2nd fight.
It's like these, like, you know, pivots off, move to the side. I really like his footwork.
I like his footwork because he hasn't moved unnecessarily. Do you know what I mean?
When he needs to.
Yeah, that's it. You know, he's changed the angles and he's put some shots together off them angle changes.
It's sort of flashy as well in areas.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, you know, he's experimenting with a few things in there, you know, and these are the fights in, you know, to do that sort of thing. You're going to get to a level where, you know, the experimenting, that's out. You're not going to get away with that. So these are the fights where you are going to get away with trying a few, you know, things different.
Nice shots by Spauls there. I mean, can you imagine him and Dylan Trev going at this?
Yeah, that would be a good fight. You know, I'm a big fan of Dylan Tricky Trevor. But, you know, obviously if they've had, you know, some history in the amateurs, that might be a good fight to build up and get a tight on for that match.
Definitely.
But that would be a good fight. Dylan Trevor is a massively talented fighter from Fuki's gym.
Yes, very, very rated highly at Titan's gym in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Which we'll see his stablemate Mikey Harrison later on the card fighting. But yeah, we're just approaching the last part of this fight, and Spauls is just tapping at him, living at him.
And you see, this is what I meant. So going out in this last round, it's going to be very hard to get a stoppage against a guy like Dale Arrowsmith. You know, he's not hurt him massively. I know he has knocked him down, you know, but it's not like he's shown any signs of really weakening De Jong. So just use this last 3 minutes, you know, get some good work in, put some shots together, practice under the fight night lights. And that's what Spauls has done.
Yeah, he's just, I do like Spauls' footwork. I really am impressed with that. it's very hard against a awkward Arrowsmith. He just doesn't give much away. It's like a proper poker face, Arrowsmith.
Yeah, he is. You know, and again, you know, this song had been a tough night's work for him. You know, obviously he's picked up a little cut, which he won't be happy about as well. But yeah, overall, another, you know, good learning fight for Spauls. His second fight, you know, 23 years old from Leeds. So I'm sure that he'll learn a lot from this and, you know, start pushing on very shortly.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we imagine this is a winner for Spauls. We'll get our MC's official verdict across the tannoy, but I thought this is Spauls' win.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers? After 4 rounds of action, we go to our referee, John Latham's scorecard, which reads 40 points to 35 in favour of your winner, still undefeated, Jacob Spauls. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Dale Arrowsmith. Again, a big thank you to our Bout sponsor for that contest, Travis Perkins, and our main sponsor for the evening, Callum Scott.
Sponsors and sponsors. Yeah, that's right. I just. Well done, Jacob. That was a good performance against, let's be honest, Dale Arrowsmith. He doesn't, I mean, all the fights I've seen him, never gets dropped, never ever finds it pressure. He's a good journeyman. He's hard night's work. But yeah, for your second fight, you've made it look relatively at ease.
Yeah, we were a tough kid. I knew we were a tough kid coming in there, so I just did the basics that I know how to do. Told you I'd put on a show, so I had to get a first round to drop him, didn't I?
And yeah, I liked it, especially first round. I was even saying on commentary, he doesn't show too much, Arrowsmith, in his 150 odd fights, he doesn't show very much. But yet, you're starting to open him up in bits. Switching from southpaw to orthodox, is that what you do often?
Yeah, that's my gym with switches, baits, and teach how to switch. So the tricky style to apprehend in that ring, and no one's going to be able to face it.
Now, activity's been a problem. We're looking to get you active. What's the next thing for Jacob ASAP? Get out ASAP, or what's next?
We said February, haven't we? Hopefully we'll get out February. We're going to stay ready, stay in the gym, enjoy me Christmas, and we'll put a show on in February again.
Just before I let you go, Jacob, is there anything else you want to say? Is there anyone, you want to shout out to or anything like that?
Yeah, obviously a shout out to all my gym. Billy Pickles, obviously, great training partner. Just come off a massive win. Won every round against Huey Wilson, so I don't know what this rematch is all about. Billy won, so Huey, get jogging on.
Yeah, I'll be inclined to agree with you that. Billy did win the majority of that, definitely. But Jacob, great performance. Is there anything you'd want to work on? I mean, because you're very raw talent now, really good, some of the stuff you did. Is there something you'd want to work on?
To be honest, it'll be Martin that tells me what I need to work on. But yeah, just picking the pace up now. I went at my pace there. I want to be going a bit faster now. That were a bit of a slow pace to what I'm used to sparring, but a tough pace because he's always on your chest. So yeah, not much right now, but going to enjoy the win.
Well, good luck for the rest of the night, and thank you, Jacob. Great performance. Well done.
people.
Yeah, this is. So I'm here tonight with Harry, Dennis, Steve. Harry, how important is it for local talent, like so the whole lads? We had obviously we've got next on James Precious. We had Harry Edgecumbe. How important is it to have lads like this on a card like this and to get the home talent going?
Well, that's it. Everybody loves boxing, and the big stars that boxing produces. But the fact of the matter is, they aren't big stars initially. You've got to make a star. So shows like today are giving the fighters that learning time, that craft building time. They're getting a couple of fights under the belt. So when they want to challenge for titles, when they want to really, push it, do their area proud, without these events, laying the foundations, they won't be able to do it.
And having the backing of Dennis, how, and FightZone, how good is it to have such an outfit like Dennis backing you up here?
Well, that's the thing. Household names, no disrespect to Dennis, I give him a bit of stick about it. Household names, you've got Eddie Hearn, you've got your Frank Warren, you've got Ben Shalom, you've got these people. The thing is, if you look at where FightZone put shows on, all around the world, but in Britain, they're going to places all the other promoters are scared to death of going, because they might not do the tickets, they might not, have that star ready-made. Dennis and FightZone, they've got the patience to make a star. Whereas these other promoters, it's a bit ruthless. They need these ready-made stars doing 5,000 tickets. Dennis will build the fighter, craft them, and then turn them into a star. And unfortunately, been on people coming, using, and going, aren't they then? But that's going to change because of the plan we've got 2026, permanent presence across the area. These fighters are going to be sticking with us, like the likes of Harvey Lambert. Harvey Lambert, tough fight tonight. He's going to be sticking with us. And we've got a big year for him where he might be challenging for titles, all being well tonight. And there's going to be some big shows coming from FightZone.
Yeah, and just going on this, I'm going to ask Dennis this, how important having kids like Harry and Steve organise this show that he's obviously done the legwork and etc. No disrespect to you, but they've done it so well. Again, look at the crowd tonight. How do you think they've done?
You've just made another mistake. You've just called them kids. You're being ageist again, aren't you? Does that mean me a grandpa? No, these two fellas here, Harry and Steve, they're a dream to work with. And you've just heard how Harry speaks. He's switched on. And yeah, I've got the experience. I've been around the world and I've done all sorts of things. And we've took fighters who aren't supposed to get to world titles. And like Harry said, that we take fighters not necessarily because they're Olympians and stuff like that. We'll build fighters. And this is where, you said this is busier than what it was last time. So this is the scene here. There's a scene untapped here. And what Harry's taps into, and Steve, we will produce champions. Probably Harvey's going to be the first one because of his pedigree. But you watch on these shows, there'll be fighters come along. Some will develop quicker than others. But I promise you, with these two guys here, we will produce titles and champions. Put all on the world map, not just a domestic map, on the world map, especially working with these two.
And obviously this is our second show here, Steve. How important is it we keep churning these shows out? And obviously you working alongside Harry, your place not soft mix. How important is it to keep going with this?
It's not only important for us in FightZone, but it's important for the local fighters, as touching what Harry said, that we can build them and they can grow with us. You only had to look at what we had previously to what we've got tonight, and you can just see the growth there to see, and long may it continue. If we can keep growing like that, where we'll be in a year, 2 year, 3 years' time, it just bears to be unthinkable what we could do together, really.
We spoke about the fighters learning, but obviously we're learning on the ground as well. Today it's almost packed out capacity crowd. despite, I don't want to name names, another show on the same night, you know, I think we've sold out, almost sold out, when big promotions just tried to, you know, stop what we're doing straight away. We've gone head to head, tried steamrollers. We were booked in first. We're not going to go into it too much, but we've gone toe to toe. Look at it. Look at the atmosphere tonight, and look at the fights to come. It's going to be absolutely cracking.
Because you're real. You're real. There's a lot of pretenders in this game, and some people are in the game just to be famous. We're on a journey here, and I want to mention my partner who's back home looking after his little baby Louis, Steve Crump. He's a big part of what we're building here, and he loves what you two are doing and bringing a lot to the table. This isn't about me, just because I've done this stuff for 30-odd years. I know I don't look that old, but with you two guys, I promise you, this isn't just going to be domestic. I want to build a scene here because this is where you're from. My daughter, Jessica, she loves Hull. She's putting a music school together here. This is untapped. Hull has got some major talent here. I'm from Sheffield. We've had world champion after world champion. You watch, we'll produce a world champion here very, very soon.
Well, I'll let you three go back to your evening. Thanks for, you know, your insight in it, and then good luck for the rest of the show.
Now.
We're just approaching our third fight of the evening. James Precious will hand over to our MC Robert Blundell.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to get back to our action. Please welcome our first boxer making their way to the blue corner from London, the Camden caretaker, Robbie Chapman. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent, making his way to the red corner from Bridlington, Diamond, James Precious. Ladies and gentlemen, live and exclusively on FightZone from the Doubletree Hilton here in Hull. Fight Academy, in association with Humber Boxing Network and Softmix, proudly sponsored by Callum Scott. And for this contest, Nationwide Leisure Homes proudly presents 4 rounds of action in the super middleweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest is Stuart Lithgow. Our referee in the ring, Mark Downing. And scoring the contest from ringside, star referee John Latham. Again, Hull, that is our officials. If you're ready to welcome our boxers, let's make some noise! Introducing first and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing dark grey shorts. On the scales, he weighed in 12 stone, 7 pounds and 2 ounces. This evening taking part in his 84th contest as a professional. From London, the Camden caretaker, Robbie Chapman! And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out of the red corner. Wearing grey shorts trimmed with black and silver. On the scales, he weighed in 12 stone, 3 pounds and 7 ounces. This evening, making his debut as a professional. From Bridlington, Diamond, James Precious!
My instruction to make sure
welcome back to FightZone, the third bout of evening. James Precious, his debut v Robbie Chapman, an experienced Robbie Chapman, let me add, Tommy.
Round 1.
Yeah, I think 84th contest tonight for Robbie Chapman, and debut for James Precious. He's never going to forget this night. You always remember your debut, and he'll be wanting to make a statement tonight in front of his fans. Got a nice sharp start here.
Just establishing a jab. He just wants to make a statement, I think, Precious. He's looking to come out straight away. Yeah, this is how you were on your debut, Tommy?
Probably not as on the front foot as this. I think it's a big night, your pro debut. You want to kind of, it's kind of like a bit of a baptism, isn't it? Baptism under fire, your first fight as a professional, getting your feet wet, and you basically, you want to get that first fight out of the way as a professional boxer. But, if you can put in a good performance, memorable performance, even better. And, James Precious has started sharp here, and he's got a good style, I think he'll have been a good amateur. He shapes up well. I like his style. Putting them shots, right up to the head, left up to body there. Robbie Chapman, I think he's going to be, he's going to have to be on his toes tonight. Putting all them fights, experience. Now some good combinations there from James Precious.
He's really establishing his authority on this, isn't he, Tommy?
He is, and again, like I said a few fights ago, sometimes that's what you've got to do with these journeymen. You've got to put them into place straight away. You've got to write the script, for the fight on that night. And basically, if they've got any ideas of causing an upset, you've got to put that fire out in them straight away and say, not tonight, pal.
Robbie Chapman playing to the crowd as well.
And again, he's going to use that experience. He's going to try and, fiddle his way through this fight. Try all the tricks in the book. 84th fight tonight. He's putting that shoulder roll to good use, and he's looking out the ring doing the Billy Joe Saunders. But he's going to have to keep his wits about him here tonight, Chapman. You don't want to be getting caught with any of these, fast combinations from Precious. They look vicious, don't they?
I think that's just to
give Chapman a breather just to break up his rhythm.
You know, that were a good first round, you know, very, very sharp, you know, first round from James Precious there. Professional debut from Bridlington, and, you know, that's exactly how we'll have dreamt it last night, you know, walking back to that corner after that first round. You know, nice and sharp work, putting them combinations together. Body shots, head shots, and, you know, he'll be wanting to really build on what he's done in that first round there.
Yeah, it's a good sort of like straightener sort of, well, really dominant like first round by Precious, and it's good to see. You know, he's just establishing behind that jab, trying to go for Chapman, but Chapman, you know, he's got 80 odd fights behind him, so he will not shy to this occasion. It's just another day's work.
I don't think the occasion or the crowd's going to bother Robbie Chapman in the slightest. Like, it seems like a bit of a character, Robbie does. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of, you know, he's used to a few boos. You know, takes it in his stride, absorbs it, but he's going to have to stay switched on here. You know, he's in with a very sharp kid making his debut here in James Precious. It's a big shot. Right hand there as well.
Nice shot by that right hand by Precious.
And again, he's doing all the right things, Precious. You know, he's not getting carried away. His shapes up well. He's setting his combinations up very nicely. You see, he's just pouring out with that lead hand, and then the other bigger shots all work off of that. He seems really compact as well. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't seem to be leaving his head high or his chin hanging out. He doesn't seem to be too susceptible to getting caught as well, Precious, which is good to see.
He's just taking centre of the ring and just waiting for anything that comes at him, and Precious sort of flurries and releases.
You know, and he's not in there with just, you know, a straightforward job tonight, James Precious. You know, Robbie Chapman, you know, you can see he's very tricky, you know, all the tricks in the books, and it can be quite awkward as well, you know, so it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how much success, you know, it can have as the rounds go on in terms of, like, you know, putting combinations together. It's the first time I've actually seen him box, James Precious. I weren't aware of him like in the amateurs or anything, you know. That's a good,
nice combination there by Precious, yeah.
Yeah, he's been real successful with that kind of like loop right hand over the top. You know, and he's caught Chapman a good few times with that now. And what I like as well, you know, 9 times out of 10 he's going to go down to the body straight after that. So right hook over the top, left up, finish to the body. But yeah, I'm impressed with his style, James Precious. You know, I wonder if he was a decent amateur, because he seems to have got that pedigree about him. You know, he shapes up well.
Yeah, he's certainly got some zip in his punches.
And Robbie Chapman just shaking his head there.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt him, as he can just say.
It might not hurt him, but I guarantee them shots are going to sting. I guarantee that. And he just wants to be careful, Robbie Chapman, that he's not getting caught with anything too clean.
I mean, Tommy, when as a journeyman, what you can do is they're experienced enough to sometimes think, you know what, I reckon I can turn this fight on its head. But as me being controversial, some matchmakers, I'm not going to mention who or whatever, will not book them again if they're just not losing week in, week out on points. Does that make sense? So sometimes they're edgy, like, oh, if they turn a fight on his head, or they think they might not get booked, and like that Wako in that first fight, you know what I'm saying, which he tried to.
Yeah, well, that's the fine line, and obviously, you know, being a journeyman, being a professional boxer, you know, this is a business, you know, and these guys are boxing week in, week out, and basically their job is to give the young prospects coming through a good test. But every now and again, if they're really up for the job, you know, to be a good journeyman, you have got to be a good fighter, so they can turn it on at any point. So that's what fighters like James Precious has got to be, you know, well equipped and you know, well aware of. But you know, he's doing a good job so far here tonight, going into this third round of his professional debut.
Got a bit of support here tonight, James Precious, is me here.
Yeah, really loud, really lively, you know, giving Robbie Chapman some boos during his introduction. And you see, you know, he applies again. It's, you know, just tricks of the trade from Robbie Chapman, but he's applying that Floyd Mayweather, you know, Philly shell, you know, defense, and he's quite successful with it. But he just needs to, you know, keep his wits about him here. He's in with a sharp man in James Precious, and it's that big looping overhand right as well. He's had so much success with that.
Just tied him up, Robbie Chapman. Now we'll see if James Precious can establish some more pain on Chapman, or try to at least.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's having a good, you know, it's been a good debut this so far. I would like him, you know, to maybe turn that screw a little bit now. You know, James Precious, like I said, he's got a good style. He's landed some good shots, some good punches in bunches.
Go for the gears.
Yeah,
basically.
you know, I'd like him to, you know, to try the best he can to really go through them gears and really put in a big performance on his pro debut. You know, one that these fans here aren't going to forget. He's never going to forget it. And I'd love to see him get back on that jab. You know, establish that jab to the head, jab to the body, and especially with the type of combinations that he's been putting together, you know, putting a jab, you know, to start them, it's really going to complement what he's been doing here tonight.
Good combos by James Precious. Trying to... Referee just knocked him out of his rhythm there.
You know, 13 wins on Robbie Chapman's record. 2 of them were knockouts, so it doesn't suggest that, you know, he's a massive puncher.
Nice 1-2 by Precious. Do you think Precious sometimes gets over-eager in times?
Yeah, in terms of James Precious. I mean, obviously you've got to remember he's making his pro debut, so you know he's going to feel a little bit of pressure to perform in front of his fans. But you know, basically all that kind of goes out of the window when you get in the ring. You know, when it's showtime, when that first bell rings, it's down to business, and you know, you go back to your default, what you've been doing in the gym, you know, how you've been performing in sparring, what you've been working on, and then, you know, all them nerves that you get, you know, especially on your pro debut, you know, all them nerves that you're going to have in them changing rooms, they just leave you as soon as that first bell rings, and then it's showtime, down to business.
Well, we can both agree that Precious has got these first 3 rounds, and it's been sort of, let's say, a dominant performance. I think Chapman is just turned up and just tucked up. Done a sort of day of Arrowsmith, not show much, and just, you know, just what journeymen do.
Seconds out, 4th and
yeah,
final
again,
round.
and you know, a brilliant journeyman. Robbie Chapman really is very experienced, and you know, he's done his job well tonight. You know, again, you know, they'll feel straight away that they're in there with a good kid. You know what I mean? And when they feel that way, you know, I'm sure in the mind it just kind of switches to all right, I'm going to stay nice and safe tonight. I'm not going to get caught too much. And again, that's a problem that the home fighter, in this case James Precious, has got to solve. So they're doing the job as a journeyman, you know, they're giving him problems to solve. And it's up to the other fighter to come through that. That's a good left hook from James Precious there. And again, you know, I'd love to just, you know, see him turn that screw a little bit. You know, he's won every round and he's looked good. And probably that's why I would say, you know, let's turn that screw now. But he's in there with a live, moving opponent in Robbie Chapman. Tricky.
Just caught him well with a shot there, but then Chapman did reply. But it's tricky. It's like the Jacob Spauls fight, Tommy. When you have a fighter that tucks up all the time and shows nothing, it's your job as a home fighter just to open them up. It always is, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, of course it is, you know, but that can be harder than, you know, that can always be harder than you'd think it is on the night, do you know what I mean? And that's why, obviously, you're starting a fight, you're starting nice and steady, just seeing what might work, and as the fight goes on, you naturally go through them gears, and, you know, the opponent starts opening up more, unless they're a tough man, like your Dale Arrowsmiths, like Robbie Chapman, you know, and this is what they make their living on, you know, just trying to survive when you're in there with a good kid. They're trying to get them rounds out. You know, Robbie Chapman's probably already booked in, you know, another 2 or 3 fights in the next couple of weeks.
I've just seen a bit of blood coming from
Chapman's
his nose now, so obviously that jab has been hammering from Precious.
Yes, definitely. The diamond he's got on the back of his shorts, and he's had a nice shiny performance here tonight in his pro debut.
So approaching to the last part of this fight, I think Precious is looking to finish off strong.
And again, it's a good learning curve this for James Precious, because, you know, when you have got to really work for the performance and you're in there with, you know, a tricky customer like Robbie Chapman, it can be frustrating at times, and I think he's done a good job in this fight of not getting frustrated, not falling out with yourself. You know, that's a very good pro debut, that is.
Yeah, you'd be proud of it if it was your coach, if you were the coach of him. We'll see. I mean, obviously we think James Precious has got this. We will see Robert Blundell's official announcement across Tannoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers? After 4 rounds, we go to John Latham's scorecard, which reads 40 points to 36 in favour of your winner. Now 1-0 as a professional, Diamond James Precious. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Robbie Chapman. Big thank you to our bout sponsor, Nationwide Leisure Homes. And ladies and gentlemen, in the corner for that contest, we had a Hull boxing legend. We have a big round of applause for Tony Booth.
Well done, James. That was one great debut. How do you feel in there?
Good, mate. I just want to go in there and enjoy myself. I mean, it was tougher than I thought it was going to be. But entertainment business, innit? I want to go in there and entertain, and went 4 rounds, entertain every round, so I'm happy.
Now, Robbie Chapman, he is like a real tough journeyman. I mean, he always comes and gives it, you know, and you put some real lever to him tonight, and, you know, I'm surprised he just didn't budge, you know, so it just proves how tough he is. You know, so what would you do in the next fight going on from this?
Thing is with Robbie, he's a very, very hard to hit. I knew he was hard to hit, but you don't realise how hard he is to hit once you're in there. You know what I mean? Plus he's tough. So, yeah, it's just one of them. I can learn a lot from it. I got a bit giddy. I mean, I thought I could hurt him, but then once, third or fourth round, I realised just how tough he was, and I wasn't going to get him out of there. So, you know, going on from this, it's a big learning experience. He's a good person to have a debut against, and it's only up from here. You know?
So, I want to bring in your coaches here. What is the next thing to do with James? Is it to get him out quick as possible, keep him active? Well, what was the plan with him?
Yeah, get out as quick as possible. He wants to box. He waited a bit longer than we wanted to get his debut out the way. So, yeah, hopefully back in the January, back out. He'll be back in gym again next week. Not tomorrow, give it tomorrow. Back in gym next week. And then, yeah, as soon as possible, back out.
And going forward, James, you know, next year we're looking at future fights, etc. You know, when you go in there next, what would you do more? Would you throw more punches? Because you were putting some right pressure on Robbie and some looping shots, and even I was feeling them ringside.
I mean, I ain't boxing, about a year and a half, maybe a bit longer than that, so it's the first time I boxed since then. You can't really replicate it, the feeling of a fight once you're in there, so I think now I've got the first one out of the way, I know what I need to do going forward. Yeah, so I'll get back in the gym come Monday, work on it, and then onwards and upwards from here. Probably one thing I would take over, maybe slow things down a little bit more, maybe not throw as many. But yeah, it's all a learning curve, innit, you know, so onwards and upwards.
Well, good luck at everything, and well done on your debut win. Well done. So that was obviously James Precious. What a debut win for him against a tough Robbie Chapman. Tommy, you know, I mean, he should be proud of that performance, don't you think?
Yeah, do you know what? I was very impressed with that performance. You know, really good performance. That's everything you want from it, you know, because he did go through the gears. He landed some solid combinations. He shaped up well. He worked behind his jab. Basically, did everything bar from get a stoppage or a knockout, but a perfect pro debut. You know, something what he's going to be able to, you know, get back in the gym and really build some momentum on.
Well, we've got Mikey Harrison 4-0, hopefully to be 5-0 next. I'll pass you over to our MC, Robert Blunden.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to welcome our next boxers to the ring. Please welcome first, and making their way to the blue corner, from Riga, Latvia, Edgars Sniedze. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent, making his way to the red corner, from Sheffield, Mikey G, Mikey Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, live and exclusively on FightZone from the Doubletree Hilton here in Hull, where Fight Academy, in association with Humber Boxing Network and Soft Mix, sponsored by Callum Scott, and our Bout sponsor for this contest, Westwood Plumbing, proudly presents 4 rounds of action in the light heavyweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest is Stuart Lithgow, and our referee in charge, scoring the action, star referee John Latham. Introducing our first boxer, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the white shorts trimmed with red and blue. On the scales, he weighed in 13 stone, 4 pounds and 3 ounces. This evening taking part in his 65th contest as a professional, from Riga, Latvia, Edgars Sniedze! And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black shorts trimmed with white and gold. On the scales, he weighed in 12 stone, 9 pounds and 9 ounces. He comes to the ring with a perfect professional record. 4 wins from 4 contests. Introducing from Sheffield, Mikey G, Mikey Harrison!
So, fourth bout of the evening, we have Mikey Harrison, aka Mikey G, against the experienced Latvian Edgars, I like to say this word properly, his last name, Edgars Sniedze. Tommy, you know Mikey quite well.
Yeah, very well, very well. Fifth fight tonight for Mikey. He's going to be wanting to put in a sharp performance.
Yes.
You know, he's got a good start here, working behind that jab. You know, in with a very experienced operator here. That's a good jab from Mikey, that. Good jab. And Fuke, John Fuchs in the corner for Mikey Harrison. He's just shouting for Mikey to keep nice and tight, you know, especially early on. Have your wits about you. And he's changing them levels lovely here, Mikey. And he just wants to be moving that head side to side as well, Mikey. Jabbing off them head movements. And you see early on, sorry Max, early on in a fight like this, you know, you're going to be wanting to test the other guy's power just a little bit. Obviously, you know, you're not taking them punches to the head, but maybe just on the side of your glove, see what they've got. And that's a good gauge for you, you know, whether, I mean, you always need to be careful, but if the guy's got very heavy hands, you know to be extra, you know, careful, keeping them hands sharp.
Yeah, Mikey G, he's come from a decent amateur background, Tyson's gym. He's got long levers, he's long, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's got them long arms. He's got some good physical attributes. You know, he's got a lot to work with, Mikey, and you know he's been gradually, you know, progressing. You know, at Titans Gym in Sheffield under John Fireball Fuchs. You know, brilliant trainer that he's got.
You see the sort of methods, Tommy. John Fuchs, he does nice low shot body shot by Mikey there. No, you see the sort of methods he does. What does John teach us? Because you're quite an admirer of John, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, John Fuchs, you know, we were in the same boxing gym, you know, as fighters, and you know, coming up from when I first started boxing, John Fuchs has been like a hero of mine. You know, he cornered me himself as an amateur, you know, trained me. And then obviously we're heavily involved during my professional career, so I know how good a fighter Fuchs was, but as a trainer, you know, he's probably even better. He's got a real boxing brain, and Mike is putting them combinations together really well here, and he's not getting carried away, which is good to see.
It's not. I just feel if Mikey steps on the gas, he can maybe take this opponent out and just be a bit more braver.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, that's what they've, you know, been trying to do with Mikey, you know, because like I said, he's got so much to work with. You know, the physical attributes, he's got his tall, he's long, he throws his shots well. You know, I think it's just been trying to get him to pull that trigger, you know, and really put his combinations together with a bit of aggression and authority, you know. So that's what John Fuchs in that corner, you know, will be wanting him to build up to in this fight, but you know, not getting carried away. He had a good little burst at the end of that round, so that was a good first round for Mikey. That he's boxing well here tonight.
Yeah, it's important to get that good first round out of the way, isn't it, Tommy? You know, just get behind the jab, settle your nerves, settle into it, and ease your way into the fight. It doesn't have to be everything thrown 100% at pace, does it?
Corners,
no,
10
definitely
seconds.
not. And you know, like you just said, Max, a big part of the first round is just settling down with them nerves in it. You know, just getting that first round out of the way and then settling down into your night's work. And again, you know, Mikey just wants to build on that success he had in that last round, and you know, do not give this Edgars, I'm going to let you pronounce his last name for me, Mike.
Edgars Sniedze. Yeah.
But you know, the main thing, Mikey, he doesn't want to give this guy, you know, any ideas of having any ambition tonight. You don't want to give him any success. That were a lovely 2-1. I love that combination. You know, a good 1-2 down the middle is brilliant, but that 2-1 straight right and then a jab after. It's a very unorthodox shot, but it's very effective.
I just noticed a bit of blood coming from.
That was from that was from that 2-1. A lovely shot that, and it's bleeding quite heavily. That. So
just shows how heavy-handed Mikey can be.
Well, that's it, you know, and it's not just the heavy hands, but he's very, you know, for a big guy, he's very fast. He's got fast hands, and he's very accurate. And you know, and again, you know, he's 22 years old. Do you know what I mean? So time is on his side. He's a young professional. 5th fight tonight. You know, in a professional career of Mikey, and you know, he's getting better and he's progressing all the time.
I feel his confidence is starting to grow now in this fight, and he's there for the taking. If Mikey just a bit more bravery, just goes for it, he could take this opponent.
And as you can see, like, you know, we look through his body, Mikey, but he is the ultimate professional. He really does everything right, and I can say that because I've seen him do it. You know, I've seen him train. You know, he eats right. He's a personal trainer himself. You know, so he's such a fit kid. You know, fitness is never going to be a problem for Mikey, and that's another beauty as well, because you know, everything else, you know, nothing in the gym needs to be worried about improving his fitness. It's all about developing his technique and letting them shots go, pulling that trigger, and he's doing more of that tonight. He's looking good here.
Nice shots by Mikey. I like how he's dominating the middle of the ring, you know, and he's just establishing and staying behind his shots, not risking, just discipline.
And again, you know, Edgars, he's got some weight on Mikey tonight, you know, and he's a big guy, you know, he's 37, he's a big, strong man, you know, 6'2". So, you know, Mikey needs to stay sharp all the way through this fight. He can't switch off for a second, but he's boxing really well so far.
Good performance so far by Mikey G. What would you be saying if you know Fuchsy inside out? What would you be saying to Mikey right now, Tommy?
I'd be saying, you know, more of the same, but let's step it up again now. Do you know what I mean? Like I've just said, you know, he needs to keep his wits about him all the way through this fight. You know, this guy he's got 11 KOs. He's won 6, and all 6 of them have been knockouts. So all this guy's wins have come by way of knockouts. So obviously he can dig a little bit. So Mikey's got to stay switched on all the way through this fight. But you know, like they've been working on in the gym, you know, be sharp, put your hands together and turn that screw. I'd still love to see him use this. It's a perfect, you know, platform and experience for Mikey tonight. You know, to step up them levels, turn that screw, and really let them combinations go.
I just feel sometimes Mikey does all the basics right, and he's good to watch.
Yes.
I just feel you need to drag that extra 10% out of him at times.
That's right, and you know, the kid has got it in him, you know, because I've seen it in sparring. But again, I just think, you know, at 22 years old, you know, he's got all the time in the world, and it's not an overnight process. You know, I think a lot of similarities maybe with me. You know, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was a gradual progression for me as a professional, and as the fights went on, I learned and I added to my style, and I became more confident. And I think that's going to be the case with Mikey, you know, I really do.
I just like how Mikey's just kept centre in the ring. He's been quite economical in his punches. He hasn't just done wild strings. He's just used everything well. Disciplined.
Exactly, that's the word. That's the word, Max. Very disciplined, very calm, very calculated. He's not given Edgars, you know, anything so far tonight, and he's going to be wanting to keep it that way. Not get caught with any daft shots. You know, get his work off, change them levels. That 2-1's working all the time. And I think John, you know, he is wanting Mikey to turn that screw a little bit, but again, John won't be happy with this. You know, Mikey's boxing well here. You know what I love as well, you know, Mikey's last fight, it was only on 4th of October, it was only last month. And you know, for a young professional, for Dennis to get him out, you know, as soon as he has, it's so important, you know, for Mikey. It's going to do him wonders, this, you know, before the end of the year. Just coming up to the last minute now in this 3rd round.
I'd like to see Mikey go to the body a little bit more, just like that.
You see, that shot is the shot that John has been shouting for in the corner, that right up to the body.
It's just confident. Mikey's just confident with the performance.
Yeah, and you see he's just sunk a left hook into the body as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think he definitely needs to stay downstairs, you know, a little tap upstairs and then sink him into the body, Mickey Ward style.
You forget he's only 22, he's only young.
Yeah, he's a young guy. Because he's so big, you know what I mean, you forget he's only a baby, you know, he's 22. And, you know, at the weight he's at as well, he's an absolute baby. And I just think, you know, he's going to get more and more confident. And, you know, as his fights go on, you know, and you can see now he's starting to put him together. And you see what you're seeing now, these are the little blips that we've all seen from Mikey. So he shows glimpses of it in sparring, and you know, it's really just kind of chiseling off everything that's not needed and really like honing in on what he can do.
Do you think it's going to be more of the same, or do you reckon John's going to say, look, let's try to stop him, let's go for it?
You know, I think, you know, trying to stop it, maybe that's the wrong way to go about it, but I'd just love to see him step up them levels again, turn that screw even more. So basically, you know, have 15 seconds of this last round, you know, nice and steady, but then get straight back into the rhythm of how we finished that third round. You know, that last 20 seconds of that third round, you know, putting combinations, moving your head, moving your feet, being vicious. I'd love to see that from Mikey in this last round. Good performance though, very good performance so far.
Seconds out, fourth and final round.
So just touched gloves last round.
Really impressed with his head movement today as well, Mikey. I mean, he's always, you know, moving his head. All the John Fuchs's fighters, you know, are really good at the defense, you know, being silky. But, you know, I think, you know, that sharp head movement, it's not given Edgars a chance tonight, has it? You know, just to catch him.
Edgars just started to, like he just woken up and just started trying to hit Mr. G.
You know what I mean? If he's come out this round to give it a little bit of a go, Mikey might find them gaps he's been trying to get a little bit more.
Yes.
That's a good jab from Harrison.
He's just doing the basics right, Tommy, and it's nice to watch. Really nice to watch. It's just, well, we can just say, just professional.
And the thing is, you know, if you're really good at doing them basics, you know, like the likes of, you know, your Clinton Woods, you know, just did the basics very well, but you've got such a solid foundation to add things on. You know, just do the basics well, and that's what Mike is doing here tonight.
I mean, I'd like to see maybe Mikey now, after this, maybe step up into a 6-rounder, maybe.
I think so. I think that'll suit him, to be honest with you, because it'll just give him a little bit more time to play with, you know, in this professional setting.
Yeah.
And I do think that will complement Mikey's style as well as the rounds increase.
Yeah, I agree.
This is long sneaky right uppercut on the inside from Mikey. And again, you know, just got to finish this last minute. Stay switched on. Don't get caught with anything stupid. And he's putting them together. You see, I'd love him to follow up on that a little bit.
Just this last part of the fight. That's it. A bit
that
more
was a good
spite
straight
by
right.
Mikey, yes.
A good straight right to body from
Sunk
Mikey.
that in, didn't it?
He really did. Straight down the pipe to the body. Good performance this tonight by Mikey.
Mikey, yeah, I'm really impressed. It's really and just slick and professional.
Yeah, and
well, we will get our official word from our MC, Robert Blundell.
One, two.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers. After 4 rounds of action, we go to our referee, John Latham's scorecard, which reads 40 points to 36 in favour of your winner, still undefeated, Mikey G, Mikey Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Edgars Sniedze And again, a big thank you to our Bout sponsor for that contest, Westwood Plumbing.
Just well done, Mikey. That was what I would call a professional display. How did you feel in there?
Yeah, do you know what, Mike? I felt good. Obviously, it helped being out 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, whatever it is, and to get straight back in. I think that's definitely like a positive to take from this fight that I've not had the chance to yet. I've not had 2 short bouts within that kind of time. So I think that tonight, that just shows that I am sharp, and you know, when I do get that time in, that you know, there's a good fighter in there.
Yeah, I was just saying to Tommy on commentary, it was just a disciplined professional performance. You know, the basics were there. You didn't show anything stupid, no economical shots. Did you feel that was just an all good round performance for you?
Yeah, I do, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Obviously, you only had to look at him. He was a big lad. Do you know what I mean? It could have been easy to get drawn into that fight, like I have done in, you know, previous couple of my fights, and made it a little bit messy and whatnot. But I felt that, you know, I boxed at range. I used my attributes. There were a big weight difference as well. So you know, I needed to just do what these 2 gentlemen here told me to do.
I think it helped you were proper scared.
Well, just bringing you here, John, like, you know, that's his 5th fight, you know. Are we looking at maybe a step up with a 6th rounder now, because that might suit his style, and start pushing him up that way? What do you think, John?
Oh, well, I was so happy with him. I thought our best he's boxed by a mile, and I think the word is positive. There's so much more positive, not aggressive. Well, aggressive, people saying they'll be more aggressive. They're going to be more aggressive, right? Calculated and positive. That he's always wanted 6 rounds, and I said to him, start doing what you told him 4, and you can have 6. I might do another 24s now. He's boxing like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, listen, whether it's a 4 or a 6, when he's doing super middle, or when he's boxing real light heavyweights, not cruiserweights, right? And he's doing that, he's more positive. He's going to get kids out of here. There's going to be no fear factor about getting caught with something stupid, this and that. So happy with him. So much positive. So well.
Yeah, I just want to bring in Dennis here. Dennis, you know, we've just seen a polished performance by Mikey G here, with his always Sheffield crowd here. You know, and we would like to see him in 6th round. It might suit him more to start pushing him in that direction. What do you think of that from the gaffer?
I think you're trying to be a matchmaker and a promoter. You slow down. No, you can just see what a job John and his team have done. With not only just Mikey, with Dylan, and such popular kids, and you know, kids like him, and obviously Fuki and the team, they keep me in this sport. I've been doing this for 30 odd years, but people like Mikey and obviously they've kept me in this job and they give me a spark, and I want to go all the way with you. And I think today, exactly you summed it up with that word. It was so much more positive. There were belief in there, not just aggression. You can see you've started to get a bit of snap when you come down at body, and for such a big lad to go down at the body, Clinton Woods used to do that, and people used to say, oh, big lads don't go to the body. Well, he did, and you can be that. You can be that, and you've got all the ability, and you're a scholar. And how you speak, you're a scholar, and that's why you bring crowds wherever we go. And I think you need to thank all your fans, pal, because they were amazing.
What's next for Mikey? What do you want next?
I think, as John just touched, I think I've been hoping for 6 rounds now for a couple of fights. Ultimately, I know, Max, that is these 3 gentlemen's decision. It's not mine. And like John says, if I've done 4 rounds like that, he might want me to do a couple more 4s and then a 6. But I do want to step up. I want to just grow as a fighter, Max. I want to become the fighter that I know I can be. Bit of a rest now through Christmas, I suspect, and then straight back out, New Year, and we go again.
He wants to get Gavin and Stacey, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to start Christmas early. Selection box, Gavin and Stacey, slippers on. He's a proper old man. Right.
Christmas starts tomorrow.
Well, you definitely earned it. Well done on a great performance. Well done, Mikey.
And I just want to say a massive thank you to the 130, 140 what have all travelled tonight. I couldn't do it without you. You're all absolutely brilliant. Love you all.
Good luck for the future, Mikey, and good luck in the next one.
So that was our last one before main event. Mikey G with a 5-0 performance. I'm going to pass you over for our pre-main event with Robert Blundell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the evening. Please welcome our first boxer making their way to the blue corner from Birmingham, Kane Baker. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, making his way to the red corner, from right here in Hull, Harvey Lambert! Ladies and gentlemen, live and exclusively on FightZone from the Doubletree Hilton here in Hull. Fight Academy, in association with Humber Boxing Network and Soft Mix, sponsored by Callum Scott, and our bout sponsor for our main event, Vibe Bar, proudly presents our main event of the evening. 8 rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Our timekeeper at the bell for this contest, Stuart Lithgow. Our referee in the ring, Mark Downing. And scoring the action from ringside is star referee John Latham. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our officials. It is now time to welcome our boxers. They are under the lights. They are ready to fight. Introducing first and boxing out of the blue corner, wearing black shorts trimmed with red. On the scales, he weighed in 10 stone, 10 pounds and 1 ounce. He has a record of 19 wins with 13 losses and 2 draws. 1 big win by way of knockout. The former Midlands area lightweight champion from Birmingham, Kane Baker. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent facing him across the ring and boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black shorts. On the scales, he weighed in 10 stone, 7 pounds and 1 ounce. He comes to the ring with a perfect professional record. 5 wins from 5 contests. 1 win by way of knockout. From right here in Hull, Harvey Lambert!
Right, boys, you both know the rules. Want a good, clean fight. Listen to my instructions.
Here's our main event of the evening. Harvey Lambert v Kane Baker. This could be a blast. This is a good level opponent for Harvey Lambert, Tommy. You know, he's like a gatekeeper for like English area.
Yeah, you know, Kane Baker, I was speaking to him a little bit in dressing rooms before this. I was like, how long you get? He was like, about 30 hours notice for this. So
yeah,
that's a proper fighter, that is. You know, he's been in with, you know, some quality operators. Kane Baker, always game, and the perfect fight for Harvey Lambert here. You know, a little step up, someone who's definitely not going to come and lie down. You know, but I've been looking forward to this fight. You know, when I saw Kane Baker's name, I thought, oh, that's a good fight. That's a good fight for Harvey Lambert. But you know, back here in May, you know, I remember doing the commentary on his fight. Harvey Lambert, you know, fight number 6 here tonight. Very smooth operator. You know, very talented. Southpaw stance, ranger.
He's against Peter Broski last time out. It was a tough Czech lad. Sunk some right shots in. I think if he can do the same and maybe get a stoppage here, which we'd love to see, that would make a statement, wouldn't you have thought, Tommy?
Yeah, definitely, you know, but, you know, he's bringing in that amateur pedigree, you know, Harvey Lambert. You know, like I said, his 6th fight here. He's going to be wanting to, you know, I mean, this is an 8-round contest, you know, he's going to be wanting to start cautious, you know, nice and lively, work on that jab. That's exactly what he's doing. And again, that's what I noticed about his feet last May. You know, he's very cute with his feet, just them little steps, finding his range out of that southpaw stance. And that's what sets things up nicely. You know, just be pouring out that right jab there.
Just taking centre of the ring. Harvey just seems to be like a showboater, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that's his style. You know, obviously he's carried that through from the amateurs, you know, but he's some kids are just slick, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And it's what works for them. You know, not everyone is just kind of keep your hands up, straightforward boxer. You know, some fighters do find it easier to fight with a bit of flair, and you know, that's just where they get the best work from.
Good jabs by Harvey. I think they're just working each other out.
Yeah, it's a good backhand as well. You know, I think he's really trying to set traps for Kane Baker here. He's trying to get him nice and content, and then all of a sudden he's firing that southpaw backhand. You know, I think a nice looping left up to the body would work here for Harvey Lambert, a little bit like that.
Nice sinking shot there, and where he pivoted off. Even I felt that, Tommy.
Yeah, he's having some good success here in this first round, not getting carried away. Perfect first round, really. Last 10 seconds. You know, as always, you know, with Kane Baker, though, you can't take anything for granted. And Harvey will be happy with that. You know, he's got Mike Gibbons in his corner, Liam Gibbons there. A good coaching team, so I'm sure they'll be very, very happy with that first round. A lovely backhand there. Yeah, straight 1-2 down the pipe from Harvey Lambert.
Yes, definitely. I think he's just working his opponent out. I think Harvey wants to sit here and feel the power of Kane, what he's potentially got. That's what these first rounds are working and working out. And just like we just saw then, sunk his body shot, pivot off. It was good to see.
And you know, I think Kane Baker's sharpness and gameness tonight will probably be down to whether he's been in the gym lately. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's got about 30 hours notice for this fight. I mean, you can tell. You know, he's in shape. You know, I guess he is all year round for if that phone does ring, Kane Baker. And again, Lambert is just trying to coax him in. He's got them hands down, that southpaw style. He's just trying to coax him in, setting some traps. You know, I've noticed as well, for it to, you know, it's quite an enclosed venue, but it's not too hot in here tonight. No. You know, normally it's quite hot and, you know, muggy, humid, but it's nice and cool in here, which is good for the fighters.
It's nothing worse. I mean, you fought the Magna, and the Magna was quite hot, wasn't it?
Hot and stuffy, you know, especially with you know, a big crowd in there. Yeah, and that's that looping left to the body. You know, I think that's what he's going to try and set up more and more, Harvey Lambert. And you see, the more he lands that, the more Kane Baker won't open up to the head as well. And you know, Kane Baker, tons of experience, you know, 19 wins, 13 defeats, 2 draws. He's going to be wanting to use every single bit of that experience tonight.
I feel Harvey's one of these fighters who takes time to warm up. He takes time. He did this last time, and he had a 6th round against Peter Brosey. He only started warming up in the 4th round and got going properly, and you started to see these shots put together. I think he grows as a fighter goes on. Yeah, you know, and you know, a lot of fighters are like that. I think I were one of them fighters as well. You know, generally 9 times out of 10, you know, I warmed up throughout the fight and probably got stronger as the fight went on, you know, especially pushing into them championship rounds. But you know, I'm sure he's got a good engine. You know, he seems like a fit kid, Harvey Lambert. So I think when he steps up them rounds, I mean, obviously 8 rounds tonight, you know, 10 rounds, you know, he could be boxing for championships pretty soon. So I'm sure he'll go through the paces as the rounds progress. Definitely. I just think with I mean, there's a little step there. I do find it entertaining. 10 seconds. I mean, like, I'd say that Harvey's got these first 2 rounds, and he's been done the eye-catching shot, but I feel Kane is just working him out before he confidence and goes for it, because I feel Kane, he's one of these fighters that aren't done at like the level he's at. He's taking this fight short notice, but he's a fight that he's confident in, if that makes sense to take. Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, I mean, you know, Kane has been in with some great talent.
So he's definitely not going to shy away, you know, from being in there with a good kid and, you know, giving a good account of himself. But not only that, but, you know, trying to get a win as well. You know, he likes to roll the dice, does Kane Baker. So as this fight goes on, you know, we'll see what he's willing to give tonight, you know, to try and get an upset win here against Harvey Lambert. I think a big part of that will be, you know, his level of fitness at the minute. You know, obviously he's a fit kid, but, you know, whether he's been in the gym waiting for a call, or, you know, he's been out of the gym, got this call and just thought, yeah, why not? To be honest with you, I think that would be probably a good reason for Harvey Lambert. Yeah, very good. I think that would be a good reason for Lambert to invest in the body in this fight. I think the body of Kane Baker should be a target for Lambert.
Nice shot again. He times things really well. He times these like picking shots, pot shots. He pops shots a lot.
He's got really good timing, really good reflexes. And again, it's just them little movements with his feet. He can be in and out of range within a split second, Harvey Lambert. And just lowering them hands again, he's setting them traps. And that were a lovely 2-1. I love that shot, a 2-1. And to be honest, I can see Harvey Lambert, you know, stepping up the gears in this fight. You know, I would like to see him do that. Again, you know, he's in with a name here in Kane Baker. It's a good win on his record, this.
Nice shot by Harvey as he came in.
I say a good win on his record. He's got to get the win first. But what I meant is, if he does come through this fight, it's going to be a good win for him. But
it's a yardstick, this fight, wouldn't you?
I think so.
Wouldn't you agree? It's a yardstick to where the level he really is at.
Yeah, definitely.
He is from GB boxing. He has, you know what I mean? So it just shows the level he is at.
And, you know, Kane Baker has kind of got that reputation where he, you know, he's a little bit of a gatekeeper, which in a way, you know, that is a compliment. You know, being a gatekeeper, you know, you are the test. And in a division like this, you know, welterweight, you know, to be that man, that's an achievement in itself. So Kane Baker is no slouch. We actually boxed on the same card my last fight. In Birmingham 2023, Kane Baker were on that card.
Oh, nice backhand by Harvey. Just right down the pipe. You notice, like, you know, different corners, like we see like John Fuchs sort of shouts at Mikey, but like you see at Harvey's corner, they barely shout.
Yeah, I think it's different approaches, you know, and there's no right or wrong way. You know, I think that's just down to you as a trainer. You know, but I know what you mean with that. You know, for the most part, you get the corner really shouting, you know, instructions every step of the way. You know, Mike Gibbons having a bit of a different approach, letting Harvey see to business, you know, and do what they've what they've been working on in the gym for weeks and for months. You know, this is the time where you show all that.
Corners, 10 seconds, corners. Seconds out, round 4.
Here we are, round 4 of 8, just approaching the halfway point after this round. Been a good performance so far, would you say, Max, for Harvey Lambert?
I would say so. It's just been controlled, calculated. It hasn't set a light, but it just takes that one like flurry that it will set alight. You can sense it. And Kane is just one of these fighters that doesn't give enough away, because you are against a tricky southpaw here. Let's be honest about it.
And I just think, Max, as well, you know, his 6th fight here tonight, such a great learning experience this as well, because like I said, you know, Kane Baker, you know, the more experienced man, and you know, being in there with, you know, some of the cream of the crop, you know, of British boxing, you know, the up and coming fighters. So, you know, a really good test for Harvey Lambert, good learning fight for him this, no matter what the outcome in terms of, you know, stoppage or going the distance. It's going to be a good night of experience.
Oh, nice 1-2 by Harvey down the pipe, and again sinking shots. But this is when he started to warm up and really sink him in against Peter Brodsky in his last fight. So this is when he starts ramping it up.
I think he is just one of them fighters, Harvey Lambert, you know, just looking at his record, you know, he's had, you know, 3 4-rounders, his last couple have been 6-rounders, this is an 8-rounder, so he's just gradually stepping up them rounds. And I just think, you know, as the fights progress, as the rounds progress, you know, I think his style is very much suited for, you know, warming up and then really stepping up the levels as the fights and the rounds goes on.
Nice backhand by Harvey, and again, I just feel, I mean, Kane Baker is just, you know, just sitting there. He's not really replying back as much. I think he doesn't.
Yeah,
in case
you
he
know,
gets counters.
Yeah, you know, he's a tough man, and he took some shots, you know, flush. Then I'd love to see Kane move that head a little bit more. You know, he doesn't want to be taking too many clean shots like that during this fight. But you know, game as they come. Kane Baker, you know, that man's got some chin.
This is fantastic performance by Harvey. It's just, I feel he can, you know, when you talk about turning the screw, he can just do it a bit more. And I feel he's starting to do it now. But good round again by Harvey.
Yeah, you know, again, we've reached the halfway point of this fight now, so 4 rounds to go, you know, so this might be the time, Max, where we might see Harvey turning that screw, you know, round by round, you know, and he'll be really wanting to put on a good performance back in his hometown in Hull, you know, back at this venue, you know, this brilliant Hilton hotel. And again, I'm really impressed with this venue.
You got to think as well,
Corners,
Tommy, Kane Baker's been on matchroom shows with the sort of opponents like beginning of the summer, so he's no mug, Kane Baker. This is why I keep saying this is a yardstick.
Yeah, 100%. I think more so as well because Kane Baker, he is known, like you said, he's been on the big shows and he's been on quite a few big shows. He's got opportunities, Kane Baker, and that's because he is as game as he is. You know, so a bit of a well-known name on the circuit, Kane Baker is. So again, you know, if he does get a win here tonight, Harvey Lambert, it'll be a good one on his record. And that were a nice little combination.
Yeah.
Same hand, up to the head, up to the body. You don't often see that. Again, you know, such a tricky southpaw, a nightmare to box. I mean, if I were boxing Harvey Lambert, you know, you wouldn't want to give him any space. You wouldn't want him to use what he's good at, I mean, me personally, I would be on his chest. I'd be smothering him like a rash. Do you know what I mean?
Would you think he'd be someone like a type of fighter like Billy Pickles, that sort of fighter who just gives pressure constantly?
Yeah, you know, I think if you're going to beat Harvey Lambert, that's the way. If you stand off and try and box him, you know, the guy's got class, so you've got to try and take that away from him. You know, get on his chest, smother him, make it ugly, make it rough. You know, Kane Baker can do that. I think he is capable. But like I said earlier, it just depends, you know, how fit he is at this moment in time. You know, 30 hours for a fight ain't a lot of notice, is it?
No, and you don't know. I mean, I know he's just hadn't long been married, and yeah, I don't think training has convinced as much as it should.
Yeah.
Nice looping hand over. Oh, nice body shot by Lambert. It's nice backhand. That backhand's so powerful of Lambert. It's so stinging.
It is, and you see, it's the speed and the accuracy as well. You know, speed kills. You know, speed equals power, Max. And you know, Harvey Lambert, he's got that. You know, that southpaw side. That were a beautiful little right uppercut. And it's that's a good shot. That's a good shot.
Brilliant shot.
Brilliant up. And he needs to take his time here, Kane. He probably should have stayed down a little bit longer then. And that's the end of that round.
Yes.
That were a good shot. That was bang on button, that, Max.
I feel if that happened a minute earlier, I think that would have been the beginning of the end for Kane.
Yeah,
he's got this.
Yeah.
He's got this now. Rest. Let's have a look at this again.
See, that were lovely. See, he just came back with that. Oh, that were bang. And you see, he looked at him. He looked at him when he was throwing that shot. It weren't even like it. He threw a shot and then just automatically came back.
Bang.
He looked at him dead in his eye as he threw that. Do you know what I mean?
And he threw that with his right.
Yeah. So that were pinpoint accuracy that. And the fight's over. That's it. He's pulled him out. Do you know what? Do you know what? That's a good stoppage from Kane Baker's corner.
Let's go over to Robert Blunder. I mean,
I was just going to say, Max, you know, from Kane Baker's corner, that were a very good, compassionate stoppage, because the guys took the fight at like 30 hours notice. So let's not put him in any more danger. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's a good call by the corner. And the corner's looking after him effectively.
Yeah, 100%. Very important for fighters these days. You don't need a brave corner, man. You definitely don't.
Let's go over to Robert Blundell, official announcement. But that's it. Thank you for Tommy Frank joining me as a co-host on here, and I'll get this right again. Former British fly champion.
Max, I'm starting to like you more and more. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight with you, pal. Thank you as always.
Brilliant. Yes, thank you. And that's a pleasure to have you, Tommy, for next time we'll be in probably Sheffield.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a big round of applause for both of our boxers? Our referee has accepted the retirement of the blue corner at the end of the 5th round. Therefore, your winner by TKO, still undefeated, Harvey Lambert. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Kane Baker. Again, a big thank you to our main sponsor this evening, Callum Scott, and our bout sponsor for that contest, Vibe Bar. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just had it confirmed that that was Kane Baker's final contest. Can we please have a big round of applause for Kane? Boxed on every big show in the country, former Midlands area champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Kane Baker. We'll now hand over to Max for our final interview of the evening.
Thanks, everyone. Well done, Harvey. That's what I call making a statement. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. I was being really patient, and me and my team knew how the 8 rounds was different to us. It's the first time doing it. We had Steve, who was obviously as fell out, as we know. But we knew when we had Kane as a late replacement, it's a great name. You know, he's boxed at a very, very good level. He's done tens of 8s and 10 rounders. So in the back of my mind, I thought, I'm going to get through the first 2 and see if he turns it up, But I knew my timing was there, and you know, I felt shit hot in there, and I knew it was only a matter of time before I landed my right hook, and then when that's in, it's done. You know what I mean?
Now, go back to that. You know, like we've seen in the previous fight against Peter Brodsky, a tough Czech kid. You know, this fight, I mean, Kane, like we just said, he's a tough operator and opponent. He's been at a decent, very good level. Was it a chance of being patient, like you just said, finding those gaps and just seeing that right opportunity for you? Is that because you like to pot shot at times, which is good to see? So is that just seeing that and going for it? Is that the thing what you were looking to do?
Yeah, that was the 5th, wasn't it? That was the end of the 5th round. Yeah. So I seen after 4 rounds, I knew I was 4 rounds up, and I thought, right, I'm going to let my hands go now. And I was popping with singles, you're double than that, and I thought, I'm having success with pretty much everything I'm doing. So I was always going to start turning up, like putting some combos together. I mean, I never throw 10-shot combos, but like if I finish on my lead hand up, it gets me back on my stance, and you know, it was a terrific little shot. So yeah.
What's next for Harvey? What in your own mind? What do you want next?
I've got Uncle Den with me. I've got Harry who looks after us, Steve who looks after us. You know, I've got a great team around me. Look, I'm 28 now. I'm young. People at 28 are absolutely shot to bits. I don't get punched. Like I'm not cocky at all. But I'm just saying, like at my style, I can go to some 35, 36. But I do want these big fights. You know, there's Conor Walker who's fighting. He's British champ now. He's fighting Pat McCormick in a mega fight. I turned him pro. There's Bobby Dalton who's defending his English title. You know, I've boxed him twice. I love Bobby to bits. Boxed him twice. I beat him twice. That's a terrific fight there, the English title. So for me personally, I want the English next. I know he's got an hard fight in Joel Cooder, I think that's his name. So I'd like the winner of that really, but like you say, I'm in great hands. You know, I'm with a good team. As you can see by my performances, you know, we're not doing anything wrong. So just keep the ball rolling, and whatever comes.
It's going to bring in Harry here. Harry, you know, pulled out the bag, really, a rabbit out of the hat of getting Kane, Baker in. You know, so many hours' notice or a week's notice. I think it was 3 days' notice. This is a yardstick of how good Harvey is. From a place like Holborn, isn't this a perfect example of how good these kids are?
Yeah, you're spot on, but also there's been a lot of talk about Kane coming in last minute, which fair play to Kane, he has come in last minute. But the guy, Harvey, was set to fight Steve Sapan, totally different fight style to Kane. So Harvey's been preparing for Steve Sapan, come forward fighter, and then we've got Kane in last minute. And as you could see, it was really, really technical. And the last 2 fights we've had, Harvey fight Peter, who was forward at him constantly once they suited you on the counter. Today, you've just had to be patient. I said to some of the guys in the crowd, I said, as this fight goes on, you know, we're going to see Harvey open up. But then are we also going to see Kane come at him? But then, God, you blink, and what a perfect shot. You know, I think I missed it personally, but it just shows you that patience is next level skill. You know, that's next level stuff.
Yeah, I threw it. Honestly, I didn't know I threw it, and then I was on the way out anyways. I turned and he just was there, and I was like, oh my God, that's where it's.
Like you said, like average viewers won't notice a difference, but that's elite level stuff. That, and when he talks about who he wants to fight, he's going to be in some big fights next year. And this city, you know, hopefully we get him in the city, but there's going to be some big fights involving him as a flagship, you know, spearing the way, really.
Well, shall we just ask the question to Uncle Den? What should be next for Harvey?
I think what I enjoy watching, obviously I've been in this game 30 odd years, and you know, just to see pedigree and class operate. And I could see he's got an amazing boxing brain, and he's just talking, and I'm listening to him, and I could see he's calculated. Forget about being 28. It's like having a second-hand car. He's got that much mileage in him. And I'm sorry for being boring, but the kids who I've took to world titles, they haven't got a fraction the ability of this kid. And he's got a great team, Shawnsy. We've got Steve. We've got Harry, and honestly, I'm blessed to be working with him. And like I said, been in it 30 odd years, but we need a flagship in Hull, and you've got him right here. I'm so excited, and he's just mentioned something. I've been in Vegas. I've promoted Ricky Hatton in Vegas. Who's going to be the next kid to take us to Vegas? I think he's right here, stood next to me. I think he's got that much ability. And we're going to have another world champion, I do believe, very quickly. Forget about rushing. We're going to do what he did in the ring. We'll pick our moments. Right fights at the right time. And he picked the shots at the right time. And look what he did. With devastating. That was sweet. That were like he said, Harry, that were elite level finish.
This is the trouble we're going to get now, because him stopping such a good opponent, what's next? What can we do with him? Because he's going to be avoided.
No, we make things happen. And I promise you, with this team here, we will get the big fights. I've done it before, and he excites me, this kid. I don't get that excited that often, but he excites me, and we're going to go all the way. We're going to be ramming the doors down. I've got all the contacts. I've got my team with me, and we'll be developing and producing big fights for him very, very quickly. I'm so excited about him here.
Well done on this performance, Harvey. I'm looking forward to the next one. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. Obviously, my sponsors. I got Nuffield who helped me out with the gym and everything. I've got Noble Invest here with me, who's obviously a good friend of mine now as well, more than anything. I've got a great team. Like Den said, I think honestly, I don't think there's a ceiling on my potential. Do you know? And we speak about potential at 28. It sounds daft, but some people are shot to bits at 28. You know what I mean? They're absolutely dead. And I'm going. So there's no ceiling to me to what I think us as a team can do. So I'm just excited.
Just want to get a word here.
Let me tell you, I've sponsored a lot of boxers in my time, like Luke Campbell and others.
let me tell you, this chap here hits harder than any guy that I know. This guy will be the next world champion.
Look, I'm looking forward to the next one, Harvey, and you know, to be compared to that caliber, well done and good luck for your future.